Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Bad Comic Review Streams. How's everybody in audience land doing? How's it going? Hey, Camel. Hey, Della. Hey, Lesser. How's it going? Hey, Andrew. Good morning. Oh, I'm glad you're having a good morning over there. Hey, Argris. Hey, Eagle. No, I try and tweet the thing as soon as I go live, so that's why I was not on screen yet, Eagle. Hope you guys are doing well. We got quite a few stories backed up here because we haven't done one of these in a while. So we'll get to those and staying sexy. Nice. That's all you can do, man. Some days you just got to sit there and be the standard for everybody else. Be like, look at this beautifulness. Oh, good to see you, Viking. Hey, Shady. I hope work was good. I'm glad you don't have to do it right now because, well, I'm doing a stream and I like people being here. It is 3:30 in the morning at my location, so hopefully you're not too tired. But remember to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and if you're feeling generous, ring that bell for notifications. And if you want, you can throw me some pity money at the Streamlabs link pinned at the top of the chat and going through the chat. I will be checking it in between articles like usual. HR departments are worthless. That's a fact. They do serve as a vindictive arm of the angriest people in the office, though. They're like perpetually having that time of the month. For some freaking reason, my YouTube feed is flooded with horror shorts. Yeah, I got that too. Like, but with music videos for like Miley Cyrus. I think I watched one video like 6 months ago, and all of a sudden I started getting them now, like all these recommendations and stuff. It's very weird. Yeah, turkey sandwich, nice. I do love a good turkey sandwich. Hey, Keldrick, how you doing, man? Hey, Costin, how's it going? Beautiful day in the neighborhood. I'm tired, but not as tired as I was earlier. I guess Monkey's still asleep, so I don't think he was feeling good earlier. So I thought I should do a stream because something to do. He'll probably wake up in the middle of this. Delete a message on accident. Whoops. Hey Q, how's it going? 3:33. Oh, you on the East Coast, Costin? Hey, Serenamantine. Morning. All right. Let's dive in because Disney hates us and we need to point it all out, as they say, as the feminists have instructed me. So we'll start with some Disney and then maybe a couple random articles, and we'll get into the latest in the Ezra Miller drama as that guy continues to implode his life and somehow still have a job with Warner. Because I'm really starting to think that after seeing James Gunn, Joss Whedon, Amber Heard, and Ezra Miller do their shenanigans, that Warner Brothers might be just a hub of degeneracy. Staff by Cat Ladies and Bear Kind. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. My experiences with HR departments is they are the angriest, most bitter, surly people alive, and you give them just an ounce of power and they will wield it like it is Excalibur. Wait, Brie Larson. I don't know who Josh Wiseman is. Josh Whedon. Am I buffering already? Yeah, my internet's acting like shit for some reason, so. Who employed Harvey Weinstein? I think he was with the Weinstein Group, but I don't know if they're owned by someone else. Would surprise me if it was Warner Brothers, quite frankly. Because if they're putting up with a dude that choke slammed a woman in Iceland and then went on to stalk and harass other women and these latest accusations, I think there's a really permissive attitude over there that really, really is not healthy for anyone, especially women. So let's take a look at what Disney's up to first. And that means we're going to watch a video. So I know that's rare on this channel, but just bear with me because I don't really know what I'm doing half the time. All right, since this is coming off my computer because I was having trouble with it, getting the tab open, I don't know if you'll be able to hear the audio on it. Now, what I want you to really pay attention to is the smug look on this douchebag's face. Look at how happy he is by what he just did. That big dude should have punched him right in the fucking face. And I wouldn't have blamed him for it at all. Direct supervisor being... Oh, yeah, I'm not surprised, Argus. Almost punched the HR lady in the face when I was fired from my first job. It took everything not to punch my former boss, too. Yep. Oh, did I die? Yeah, I thought the audio might be screwed up. Why did they do that? I don't know. That was a total douche move. What the shit is going on with my internet? Hang on. Okay, that seems a little more stable now. All right, so we'll jump over to the article that's related to this. This one comes from Newsweek. I'm real surprised that dude didn't punch him. I really am. Internet slams smug Disney employee who interrupted marriage proposal. It's from a few days ago. It's 6/3. The Disney employee is being lambasted online over a viral video showing him interrupting a couple's dream wedding proposal. The video posted on Reddit's "I am a total piece of shit" forum has been upvoted over 85,000 times. It's titled "Piece of Shit Destroyed My Best Friend's Moment. He asked for permission beforehand." A Disney spokesman told Newsweek that the attempted proposal took place at Disneyland Paris on a platform with the background of Sleeping Beauty's castle in perfect view. But as the 21-second video begins, the man drops to one knee holding the ring with which he is about to propose to a significant other when a male employee scurries onto the scene, darts between the two, the man still kneeling, and grabs the ring box out of his hand. Onlookers seem confused by the scene, but some even booing the employee who interrupted the couple's happy moment. The male partner, donned in all white clothing, can be heard uttering something along the lines of "she said yes," pointing to a potential employee out of frame. Like that lady over there said yes, not the girlfriend. "Yes, that's great, but over here will be even better," the employee said, leading the couple off the elevated platform to a near metal grate. And more boos rained upon the employee. The video poster with the surname U/Wesgetian, I don't know, and a comment under the video said his friend actually asked a female coworker if proposing on the platform was okay. The woman gave him permission, then this piece of shit ran up to him and grabbed the ring. "We regret how this was handled," the Disney spokesperson added. "We have apologized to the couple involved and offered to make it right." How are you going to make that right? It's a wedding proposal. How are you going to make that right? This is fucking insulting. That employee was way too happy to do this. The platform is there specifically for this reason, and you have to get permission to do it. I think there's a fee involved too. So maybe he didn't pay the fee, but did you really have to be that big of a douchebag? You couldn't just wait till afterward. It would have taken 10 more seconds. Oh, but no, we got to run up and grab it because fuck you, you didn't give us our money. The fuck is wrong with Disney? Reddit reactions included, "A moment the couple would have remembered forever is now going to be remembered for different reasons." Yeah, This Disney employee ruined this moment and he was smug about it. Redditors were full-throated in their comments regarding the Disney employee, with one saying he's so proud of himself. Look how fucking smug this guy is, just standing there and pointing to the gate, another user said. Yeah. One user joked the couple never paid their $149 optional proposal photograph fee as part of their admission. Yeah, sadly, that's probably the thing. Many questioned whether the employee would lose his job or was fired already for the incident, or whether it was part of the general employee policy. He wasn't fired. Disney approves of this type of shit. One Redditor alleges that he knows an employee who works at Disney who told him the company employees are explicitly told, "We never touch a guest without their clear permission, given either verbally or through body language. We are not allowed to take their property under any circumstances, and doing so results in termination." This guy's not going to lose his job. Disney wants that money. We are also trained to do anything we can to keep our guests happy and to continue to sell the image of the most magical place on earth, as long as you pay your fees. The employee allegedly told the Redditor, "This employee will be terminated pretty swiftly should this video make it to the right people. All he had to do was wait 10 seconds, get it out there, and he's a goner." I doubt it. I think he's going to keep his job. Disney's already aware of this, too. The Disney Employee Handbook, found online from 2016, specifies that employees will face discipline or even immediate termination if conduct toward the employee's managers, coworkers, or anyone with whom the employee comes in contact while performing work for the company that is unprofessional, discourteous, or disrespectful. I imagine those policies have changed to be more lenient and tolerant toward the protected people, if you know what I'm saying. Similar wedding proposals have been documented at Disney parks in the past, including one man who in 2018 sued the company for not only allegedly interrupting his proposal at the Magic Kingdom, but also accusing an employee of physical harassment and even threatening to punch his partner. A Psychology Today study released in 2021 stated that when men proposed in front of other people, their proposals were more likely to be rejected. When proposals were accepted, others were present less than 1/3 of the time, but those rejected were in the vicinity about 45% of the time. That's pretty fucked up. So, yeah, Disneyland Paris. Nice work, assholes. Nice work. I think this was bad PR for Disney, but it's even more insulting that the guy felt that complacent that he was comfortable enough. He was comfortable enough in his job to run up and grab that ring away from a total stranger who was easily twice his size. He knew he wasn't going to get hit, but he was comfortable enough in his job and in whatever else to run up and do that and ruin these people's most memorable day, arguably. You know, there's a handful of days you remember in your life, and a wedding proposal is easily among them. Hey, Gorbag, how you doing? Disney's about grooming, not building a family. That seems to be a more accurate point. Yeah. That was a super expensive planned out proposal. Oh, yeah. Disneyland's not cheap. He probably spent a couple $1,000s to go there with her. They're almost certainly staying in a Disney hotel because this is a special occasion. It's Europe, so it's probably costing a little bit more than it would here. I paid for entry. That's all the permission I need. Yeah, you would think so. Yeah, absolutely, Viking. I would have knocked that dude's teeth out because I would have thought he was robbing me. Takes off with a multi-$1,000 ring. I mean, what's the average engagement ring cost for the cheap ones? Like $6,000. Walt Disney's gonna rise from the grave. He might at this point, just from all the spinning he's doing. Yeah, Argus. I would never ever go to a Disney park again, and I would never buy any of their media or junk ever again if I was that couple. That was horrible. And yeah, they'll have a story to tell their kids, but it's not one that's going to be remembered fondly, especially by her. And you know what? I know some Disney freak chicks, and they would probably break up with a dude over that. better movie than the first, more modern, most modern movies. That's cool. Yeah, I've heard good things about Top Gun Maverick. I'm probably gonna go see it at some point. It's the same company that'll sue your ass for daring to put Spider-Man on a child's gravestone. Yeah, they're not gonna fire this guy. I have no doubt that they will probably promote him for that because he went that extra step to protect the Disney brand from evil photographs of people getting married. Paris has gone to the dogs, been to France twice. The changes between the 90s and 2010s was horrendous. Yeah, well, it's a lot dirtier now thanks to what's the polite way of saying illegal immigration? Um, diversity. Average price of engagement rings is 1 to 5K. Uh, yeah. So you spend, let's say, 1,000 low end, $1,000 on the ring, probably $1,000 at the park itself between hotels, entry fees, because it costs like $160 to get in now. So two of you, there's $300 right there. Hotel room overnight, it's going to cost you a couple $100, food, all that shit. And the guy even asked permission from another employee. So he didn't see anything wrong. So Disney's just a bunch of assholes. Oh, if they'd been LGBTQ, it would have been, this would be all over mainstream media. But remember, Disney owns ABC and they own a bunch of other stuff. They're very powerful and influential. So this isn't going to hit the mainstream. It might hit a couple of the like more conservative sites, but probably only in Europe. May live long enough to see a company the size of the legacy of Disney commit Sudoku. Yeah, they're trying real hard. They're catering to audiences that don't want to give them money. Hey, Ast, how's it going, man? So yeah, I don't know. I think this is really dumb on their part, but hey, that's not going to stop them from keeping it up. But they may have other things to worry about. Probably not, because let's be real, Disney never gets in trouble and is really never held accountable except for that one time by the Florida government for political reasons. Overbounding into comics, FBI affidavit reveals Disneyland Resort power broker is a key participant in cabal steering Anaheim's government. Yeah, so they've got people in high positions over in Anaheim, apparently. Why not? Why not just be like, hey, let's give ourselves some tax breaks? An FBI affidavit has seemingly revealed that an employee of a fairly influential company could be one of the key participants pulling the strings on the city of Anaheim's government. And sources claim that this power broker is a person that works at Disney. I know, I'm shocked. Look at that evil little fuck. The employee of the firm called Company A in an affidavit that's part of a federal public corruption probe helped script a statement read by an elected official before the city council voted to issue bonds and provided input on who to invite to a covert retreat for community power brokers, reported the LA Times. As per the sources alluded to by the outfit, who are purportedly familiar with the investigation being conducted by the FBI, Company A is actually a Disneyland resort. The identity of the employee is Carrie Nokella, Director of External Affairs at Disneyland Resort. No conflict of interest. Don't even think that. Disney has no corruption whatsoever in the government. They're not trying to sway the local government to give them more free stuff. Interestingly, the LA Times reports that neither Disneyland Resort nor Nokella have been accused of wrongdoing. Really? You don't think the conflict of interest by itself would make you suspicious of wrongdoing? I have no doubt there's most likely wrongdoing here. In spite of Anaheim activists and an unnamed past mayor claiming that Disneyland Resorts had parlayed its influence into lucrative tax breaks at the expense of city residents. Fuck those dirty poor people, right, Disney? Councilman Jose Moreno said that Disneyland actively influencing Anaheim's role in terms of city politics would be the worst kept secret in town. No shit. Noting that people paying attention are well aware of the situation. According to the media outlet, the resort has also bankrolled friendly politicians with generous campaign donations. although without disclosing who these politicians were. The Los Angeles Times reached out to Disney to clarify information about the alluded Company A amidst the corruption scandal. We have seen media reports of the complaint, and no authorities have reached out to us about it. Why would they? You have the right politics, declared the company in an official statement issued to the publication. The publication also notes that Carrie Nocella has declined to comment on the allegations. Yeah, duh. Further, the director of external affairs at Disney Resort has reportedly deleted both her Facebook and Instagram accounts last week as the corruption controversy unfolded. The affidavit was written by FBI Special Agent Brian Adkins, who accused former head of Anaheim Chamber of Commerce Todd Amnett in a 99-page criminal complaint of lying to a mortgage lender about his assets while seeking a loan for $1.5 million home in the San Bernardino Mountains. Oh, must be nice. According to the legal documents, Amnett, one unnamed political consultant, and a Company A employee, allegedly Nocella, used their influence to script statements made by an anonymous elected official at an Anaheim City Council meeting. The LA Times notes that the Disneyland Resort has been benefiting from its relationship with the government of Anaheim, bringing forward an agreement made in 1996 that stipulated city leaders were to issue $510 million in bonds to finance, among other projects, construction of the $108 million Mickey and Friends parking structure. Yeah, the city had to pay a shit ton of money for that. Fuck you guys. Further, the outlet mentions the resort keeps the parking revenue, and Anaheim will transfer ownership of the garage to Disney once the bonds are at $1.1 billion and interest are paid off. So the city just dumped a ton of money to build a parking lot for Disney, and then Disney gets to keep all the money, and then they're going to get the entire parking lot that the taxpayers paid for. No corruption here, guys. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Disney is not manipulating the government. Oh, look, Mickey Mouse has a nice new costume. Additionally, in June of 2015, Anaheim's 5-member city council voted 3-2 to approve Walt Disney's 30-year renewal proposal of tax exemption for visitors to its Disneyland resort, preventing the city from making an estimated $1 billion in revenue. The agreement stipulated that Disney needed to deliver on their promise to complete $1 billion in development at the resort by the end of 2024, which included Star Wars Galaxy Edge expansion, and could apply for an additional 15-year extension if the company spent an additional $500 million. So that they're not giving any of this money to the city, though. They're just developing the park. At the time, Disney declared the exemption was justified, considering that the company accounted for an estimated 28,000 local jobs as the city's largest employer, as well as the economic benefit Anaheim derived from the resort. How'd that work out during the shutdown? In 2018, Disneyland president Josh D'Amaro asked Anaheim officials to cancel the 45-year tax exemption, as well as a 20-year 70% hotel bed tax refund. The Walt Disney Company's fairly unusual request came amidst a union-funded petition for a ballot measure that sought to require all businesses in Anaheim's resort district to pay a minimum wage of $18 an hour by 2022. In November of 2021, however, Orange County Superior Court Judge William D. Claster ruled that Disneyland and its contractors are not subject to Anaheim's $18 an hour minimum wage increase for workers. That judge's finances should probably be looked at. What do you make of the claims Disney? That sounds like Disneyland is planting friendlies on the Anaheim City Council. The appearance of impropriety is really all I need from Disney at this point, because they are such scumbags that it would not surprise me at all if they were fishing for better deals for themselves, which, I understand, trying to pressure them into giving them like tax breaks and stuff, but actually getting one of the employees on the city council, that's shady as hell. So let's see what you guys think. I'm caught up, sup, Lester? Hey, Frosted. Rico Act, maybe. Hey, check. Supplied by Daffy Duck to take down his white rival Donald Duck. Maybe. You never know. It's a very complicated plan. Almonds are activated. Yeah. But if Disneyland special extra legal protections, you were just like the left, drooling retard 2022. Hey, Demon, how you doing? Don't blame me. I didn't do anything. How's it going, Hazmat? I work at the port. Disney does so much shitty crap here in Florida. Oh, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. And I think people are paying a little closer attention to it. But it just shows their complete disdain for the fans. Not only did they interrupt that one guy's wedding, now they're apparently manipulating the Anaheim government, maybe. I'd be interested why the FBI isn't looking at that closer, since they're looking into that one guy's purchase. Maybe it could open up a broader investigation. See the Walt Disney World thing, vote to dissolve that creek thing. Oh, the Reedy Creek. Yeah, that's gonna get taken away from them. How's it going? Common gave you. I usually catch them, but not live. All right, so Disney being complete douchebags, but there's more, of course, because they have a new marketing strategy. Because remember, Disney owns Lucasfilm and Marvel, and we, of course, have some news on both, because Disney pretty much controls like 70% of the nerd stuff these days. Racist Star Wars fans believe in talking aliens, but have a problem with strong black women. I'd thank Frosted for sending me this, but it just made me mad. This appears to be the strategy for promoting Kenobi. Is just yelling racism a bunch of times. Like, oh, you should watch it because racists hate it. No, the show is all about this chick. It's not a Kenobi show. It's the Reva show. Of course, last episode was really the Tala show. Some stories are so stupid they make your brain ache. The latest one is the racism directed at a non-white Star Wars actor. Maybe because her acting is incredibly rigid, her dialogue sucks, and the show seems to revolve around her more than it does the titular character. It's Moses Ingram, who plays Reva in the latest Star Wars television series, Obi-Wan Kenobi. The show's about her. And they never explain why she hates Kenobi. But her acting is very wooden in it. It's surprisingly bad, because usually she's not a bad actress. I think it was bad casting, and I think she was the wrong person for the part. But nobody cares that she's black. It's that the acting is awful. The TV show features Ben Kenobi 10 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith. Ingram plays an Inquisitor, a band of dark... Spoiler alerts or whatever, if anybody cares. Come back in 5 minutes, if you care. A band of dark Jedi who hunt other Jedi. Her role is a villainess, and she plays it to the hilt. Let's not get carried away. However, a few days ago, I learned racist Star Wars fans were bombarding Ingram with hate mail. Many of the messages used the N-word. Pixar didn't happen. It got so bad, StarWars.com had to put out a statement rebuking their so-called fans. Ugh. Yeah, they had Ewan McGregor come out and do a little stupid video. Like, oh, don't be racist. And I've seen none of this crap. This is a bunch of nonsense. The message said there are more than 20 million sentient species in the Star Wars galaxy. Don't choose to be a racist. We're proud to welcome Moses Ingram to the Star Wars family and excited for Reva's story to unfold. It shouldn't be Reva's story. It's Obi-Wan Kenobi, not the Reva show. If anyone intends to make her feel in any way unwelcome, we only have one thing to say. We resist. Woo! Did Trump tweet about it too? And Ewan McGregor, who plays Kenobi, said, if you're sending Moses Ingram racist messages, you're no Star Wars fan in my mind. Who gives a fuck what you think? Shut up and act. The sci-fi alt-right. Oh no, guys. Sci-fi has the alt-right. The phantom alt-right. That's like 500 people over on Cozy. Unfortunately, this isn't the first time this happened. It also happened a few years ago to John Boyega and Kelly Marie Tran. Oh, like when they minimized them on the posters for the Chinese release. Stars the most recent series of films, of shit films. Nobody complained about Kelly Marie Tran. She's a decent actress. They complained about her character being boring and looking like a potato. There's nothing wrong with her acting. The movie sucked. All three of them. And John Boyega is actually a good actor. His character got screwed over by the shit writing. I never saw anybody badmouth them for being minorities. That is such bullshit. There were probably some Twitter eggs, the generic ones that were pop-up accounts. This is such bullshit. Since when did she really care about Star Wars until now? She probably didn't. The racist incels who claim they're Star Wars fans were upset about the increasing level of people of color in the franchise. No, they're not. They claimed it in an attempt to market the franchise to a bigger audience. Like, that's a bad thing. I guess they wanted Star Wars to be a white male-dominated fantasy world, kind of like what Tucker Carlson envisions. What? The citation needed. Again, this is monumentally stupid on several levels. They forgot about Lando Calrissian. No, everybody fucking loved Lando Calrissian. He was smooth. And Billy D was awesome. First, the world of Star Wars is fiction, meaning it's made up. Oh, thank you for that definition. I was confused. It can be whatever the writers want it to be. And it's set in a galaxy far, far away. Obviously, the Star Wars universe is a place with millions of alien species and humans living alongside each other. So naturally, the people should represent the various shades of humanity. Or non-humanity, for that matter. Humanist, look at you. And to illustrate how ridiculous the racist argument is, they can accept what? They can accept of world with talking aliens, but they can't live in a world where a black woman is in charge, really. But she's not in charge. The Grand Inquisitor was in charge until she murdered him, spoiler alert. And she just walks around defying everybody that has more status than her and talking back to them. It's got nothing to do with her being in charge because she's not in charge. She just decided she knew better than everybody and starts bullying everyone around her, including Darth Vader. The racist Star Wars fans forgot Lando Calrissian, played by Billy D. Williams, who started the original series as a black man. Nobody forgot. Star Wars diversified its cast almost 40 years ago. Also, the first Star Wars movie, later renamed A New Hope, was fairly progressive because it featured women in leadership roles fighting alongside the men. Yeah, so what? Nobody had a problem with it then. Nobody has a problem with it now. We have a problem with your shitty characters. Your little Mary Sues that are out there being the best at everything because of their melanin content or their genitals. Unfortunately, Star Wars isn't the only sci-fi franchise that has faced criticism from alt-right fanboys. Oh, you can't criticize. You're automatically alt-right. Doesn't matter if you're ass blasting some other dude. You're an alt-right Nazi. The Star Trek franchise also had the same problem from racists who didn't like the fact that some of the newer shows featured women of color in charge. Star Trek Discovery is led by Sonequa Martin Green, a black woman, and Asian actress Michelle Yeoh, who also featured heavily in the pilot. They drew criticism from less evolved regions of the internet. First of all, Michelle Yeoh is a fucking treasure. She's a great actress. She was a great martial artist. And Wing Chun is one of the greatest cinema masterpieces of all time. Don't you ever disparage Michelle Yeoh, you lying, disingenuous son of a bitch author. And people didn't like whatever her face was because she's a fucking Mary Sue. She could do no wrong. She was the best at everything and she was always right. She couldn't figure out which way to point a fucking phaser. And it's on film. The show is written horribly. That's why STD is the perfect initials for it. It's a show about a Mary Sue for Mary Sues with a bunch of lazy Twitter talking that seriously everybody talks like they're doing tweets. It's really, really unnatural and awkward. It's how sheltered, weird homeschool kids from the 90s would have talked. So fucking frustrating. This argument is just as stupid as the racist Star Wars fans argument. Star Trek was woke from the beginning. No, it wasn't. They were not how you define woke these days. No. The original Star Trek show was famous for its diverse cast, which featured a black woman, an Asian man, and a Russian serving on the crew. This was during the Cold War when the Russians were our enemies. Yeah, but this took place in the future. No one gave a shit. There wasn't anybody out there protesting. But Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, always envisioned a future where mankind had gotten over its differences, such as race and ethnicity. Yeah, and race and ethnicity really never came up directly in the show. It was all done in allegory. And now they can't shut up about it. I mean, you had to put January 6th in an episode of Strange New Worlds. That's fucking lazy and weird. And nobody cares that this woman's black. They care that her character sucks. She's the star of the show, and the show is boring, and her dialogue blows. And she looks like she doesn't want to be there, too, because her acting is very rigid. Unfortunately, the recent troll attacks on these two leading sci-fi franchises show that racism is still a problem, even in outer space. However, Anson Mount, star of the latest Star Trek spin-off Strange New Worlds, has solidly backed Ingram. I don't care. I don't care at all. He did that for virtue signaling. Who cares? Oh, so you've trotted out a token white guy to round up your article? Nobody gives a fuck what failed Black Bolt has to say. So yeah, there we go. If you don't like the Kenobi show and you have any complaints, you're just a fucking racist. Ugh, so fucking irritating. Wing Chun is my favorite kung fu movie from the time of kung fu movies. Yeah, I love that film. It's right up there. Like Last Hero in China is probably alternating spots for my favorite. Sometimes Once Upon a Time in China and America. But yeah, that Wing Chun is a stellar film, and Michelle Yeoh is awesome. But this is dumb. This is just more fake controversy to drive clicks and try and get people to fall in line with their bullshit. You should go support it because, oh my God, a strong, independent black woman's in it. Kelly Murray's character was such shit, it'd be believable if she was secretly working for the Empire. Jar Jar was a more helpful ally. True. That character seemed to just be there. She didn't serve any function. In fact, she was more of an impediment than anything else because they had to go save the space horsies or whatever and not do their job. Where did he fit in the impression of Pyramid? Oh, well, Viking, Jar Jar was played by a black actor, so if you don't like Jar Jar, you're racist or some bullshit. And you know what? Jar Jar never bothered me that much. So I was like, whatever, just not my thing. But I didn't think he was annoying as everybody else seemed to. I just didn't care. How's it going, Mass? You see they put a warning on the new season of Stranger Things? No, I haven't seen any of the new season. But yeah, all these warning signs, people are such pussies. What's your favorite Bigfoot movie? Is it not Legend of Boggy Creek? Explain why. No, it's not Boggy Creek. It is Suburban Sasquatch. Or Harry and the Hendersons. Boggy Creek was a fake mockumentary. The second one was funnier than the first one, granted. But I do like the Legend of Boggy Creek films, but they're not my favorites. There was another one, I think it was called Abominable, that was about the Abominable Snowman, which is a Yeti, mountainous, Himalayan style Bigfoot. That was pretty good, but I haven't seen it in 10 or 15 years. Or just go around support things I know I'll like. Yeah. Don't give these people money if they're making trash and insulting you in the process. Start reading Chinese manga. The zombie apocalypse starts in a basically wet market eatery with an otter. Fucking otters. Let me watch the sequel, Jack. I think it's a safe bet. Jar Jar guy was lucky they weren't using his face. Yeah. He was borderline suicidal anyway. I think it's unnecessary to attack the actor for the role. Yeah, even if they act badly, you know what? Bad movies are bad movies, and you're not going to hit it out of the park every time. The only way Boggy Creek is good as MST3K style. That's me with a lot of movies. Repeat indefinitely. Yeah, pretty much. Frosted. What was the one where Sam Elliott hunts down the Bigfoot? Sam Elliott, one of those? That was sad. Jar Jar was always good. He was basically Lucy Ricardo in Star Wars. What the fuck was Tico? Yeah, exactly. Jar Jar was trying to be helpful, and he actually did move the plot along. He introduced them to the Gungans and helped forge an alliance. And yeah, he might have been a fuck up on the battlefield, but he was still kind of useful to everybody. Rose didn't do anything contributing wise. She didn't actually contribute anything. In fact, during The Last Jedi, she actively stopped Finn from helping. Out of love. Emo Anakin was worse than Jar Jar? Yeah. Jar Jar's a Sith. Yeah, the Jar Jar Sith Lord would have been a better Rise of Skywalker. All right, since we're on the Disney train, let's look at Marvel's laziness, which shows their contempt and disdain for fans because they're out of ideas. Oh, the man who killed Hitler and then Bigfoot. Oh, dude, that's on my to-view list. I haven't seen that one yet. So here we go. Over at CBR, Marvel just introduced a mutant with belly button lint superpowers. Marvel is creatively bankrupt, just like Disney. It's probably where they get it. This is actually from May. Just never got around to it. The excellent number 3 brings a new mutant into the Marvel Universe, this one harboring some strange powers. From writer Peter Milligan, who obviously has no fucking idea what he's doing. And a bunch of other people I don't give a fuck about. Michael Doc Allred is a very overrated artist. Recent death of Joe Bum when spirits are low and confusion runs among the group. Zeitgeist decides to seize the opportunity and introduce some new members to the excellent team. One of the members is a mutant named Fluff, whose powers are directly related to belly button lint. A lot of people have belly fuzz or lint. Fluff says to the team, only Fluff can generate bucket loads of the stuff at will and vary its chemical composition. Notice he said his own name in third person. A mirror girl begins to gag. Fluff adds, the little ladies really go crazy for this. Wow, that's some wacky writing. Wacky. The other members introduced a mutant named Stripe, found her lurking in the drapery wing of a famous department store, Zeitgeist tells the team. She has the power over all things stripy. Zeitgeist later tells Excellent that the reason for the new team members is because the next mission will be their biggest, most audacious yet. Granted, this is from May 19th or so. May 17th, because it says 2 days ago and was archived on the 19th. But this is just fucking lazy. This art is dog shit. This looks like a 10th grader did it. Look at that freaking gunt on that blob. I don't even know what gender that is. It's probably one of the 85 I don't give a fuck about. So there you go. Lint, belly button lint. Yeah, if they're gonna do something that stupid, it should be like a joke book from an indie company, not Marvel. That's freaking lazy. Stripe from Gremlins? No, that'd be more creative. This is somebody that can control stripes. So she has the power to choke a cat. Yeah, apparently. It's not even like tinsel or anything. At least that'd be kind of useful. Belly button lint. Oh boy. Man. You know, I used to love comics, especially in the 90s. You know, the 80s and 90s, I grew up with all that. A lot of the 70s stuff I read too, because you could get that at garage sales and flea markets. But anymore, I dread looking through the previews. Actually, reading some of these is like the concept sounds cool, and then you read it and you're like, well, that was dog shit. Oh, thanks, Assassin. Oh, right. Over at Screen Rant. Just getting depressed now. The X-Men's new era completely redefines the team's core message. Yeah, fuck acceptance. Why try for acceptance and fitting in? Krakoa becoming a nation state catapulted the X-Men into a new era, but this new age is already being reshaped by Nightcrawler's new core value. You mean the one that abandoned his 40-year Catholic faith in order to create a mutant-based religion on their ethno-state island? It's not a nation-state, it's an ethno-state. They only allow mutants. Spoilers for Legion of X #1. I don't give a fuck. The core values of the X-Men and Krakoan culture at large have been redefined in a monumental shift in the debut issue of Legion of X, stretching across nations, plates, and even pocket dimensions. Mutant society is in a period of growth long overdue. To the average mutant, it feels like just about everything possible, but when anything and everything are on the table, what are the boundaries put in place to ensure mutants are able to live their best possible lives? Yeah, this is a power fantasy book now, well beyond any regular superhero book. This is a niche power fantasy by lefty weirdos. This, of course, was a central theme in Cy Spurrier and Bob Quinn's 2021 miniseries Way of X and one-shot X-Men The Onslaught Revelation, acting together as a prologue for Legion of X. Nightcrawler finds himself leading the Legionnaires as a non-police peacekeeping squad. If you're a peacekeeping squad, you're either military or police. Maybe both. How are you a non-police peacekeeping squad? They don't even try that with the Department of Vice and Virtue in Iran. You know, the ones that go around enforcing the morals. They call them the virtue police or morals police. Typical police systems are designed to punish lawbreakers for threatening socio-political order and label them as other or criminals. Look, I like how criminals are in quotes. Rather than punishment, the Legionnaires are instead committed to righting the righting of wrongs of making mutants whole. The core of the fundamental shift in mutant society construction, consent. Well, how do you unrape somebody? If a mutant rapes another mutant, how do these Legionnaires fix that? Do they just shoot the bitch in the head and resurrect her again so she doesn't remember it? How do you unfuck that? In Legion of X1, written by Cy Spurrier and Jan whatever, both Nightcrawler and Lost echo the importance that consent holds to the work they are embarking on. To Kurt and Marionette, the greatest violation anyone can commit is to turn people into things. That is to objectify a person or take away their agency. That is codified in Nightcrawler's legionary annotations to Krakoan law. It all matters, emotion, physical, sexual, and spiritual. As long as choice and consent are present, anything goes. Oh, so you're promoting kid diddling? Is that what I'm hearing? Let's see what he says here. It's complicated. I went through the training, took the vows, but it turned out to be this. I don't know, this crazy illusion, or anyway, it didn't stick, but going through all that, it has to mean something. Or these vows of yours, they include celibacy? That's garbage dialogue. Is she making a shocker here? I don't. Making the concept of consent central to the spirit of the Krakoan justice is revolutionary for the X-Men, Krakoa, and all mutant kind as a whole. It's a powerful message with potentially huge ramifications. Most of all, this interpretation of Krakoan law is freeing as opposed to something meant to restrict people. It frees them from seeking revenge upon others or traumatizing others in ways they have been traumatized. Doing so could create a culture where healing mutants helps other mutants in their own healing. A reversal of the adage, hurt people, hurt people. Oh, God, this sounds so fucking dumb. Legions of X is out now, and there seems to be no going back for Krakoa. Yeah, because they have crap writers, and all of this is stupid. If Kurt Wagner and his Legionnaires have anything to say about it, the mutants won't just be the most powerful group in the Sol system, but also the justest. That's not a word, but also the most just. The justest? That's not a oh my God. Fuck you, Screen Rant. This is stupid. This new era springs from the X-Men redefining their message on one key tenet: consent. Ugh, ugh, ugh. God, these weirdos are obsessed with their little cult mentality. This is Move Beyond Power Fantasy. This is Reich Fantasy. Absolutely. The theme that the X-Men have become is domination and control. They have extorted the rest of the planet and forced them to accept all mutants as diplomats. So they experience diplomatic immunity. You know what diplomats can get away with here? Not just running through red lights. They get away with murder. They get away with rape. They get away with child trafficking. The worst that happens is the diplomat gets sent home. You couldn't even do that to a Krakoan. So they can run around raping everybody and be like, well, the Krakoan consented. So it's all from perspective. And this is dangerous commie mentality that cannot hold up in the real world. This is just power and control fantasies beyond anything that's viable in the real world. Justice for all, hey monkey. I figured Monkey would wake up halfway through the stream. All right. It is that time again where I do shill. Thank you all for watching. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, please hit the like button, share it on your social media, subscribe if you haven't, ring that bell for notifications, and if you're feeling generous, you can toss me a couple bucks on the Streamlabs. Mama's doing a lot better. May come back home this month. Oh, nice. Glad to hear it, man. Colonel Stryker did nothing wrong. It's starting to look that way. In the real world, these guys would be seen as authoritarians. And quite honestly, I think Frost was right. They'd be fascists because they dictate with an iron hand. And everything is done on their terms. They extort everyone with these healing flowers that only grow in Krakoa. And they've claimed ownership of the solar system. Round 10, just wow, dude. You actually got some real sleep. Hope you actually got deep sleep, though. Because they're so damn cringy? Yeah, pretty much. They're the most justice. How dare you? Yeah, I know, right? All right, let's laugh at Ezra Miller and his fucking insanity, because this is just depressing. I was not shocked by this, and that makes me sad that I am that cynical. But with this story making the rounds, Warner Brothers Discovery is looking really, really bad. He has done so many vile things. He chokeslammed that woman in Iceland where he grabbed her by the throat and slammed her to the ground, and that was a fan. Then he was in Hawaii and got arrested like 3 times. He got thrown out of a bar. Started a fight with the cops, or tried to, and accused them of misgendering. And he robbed that lady and her husband or boyfriend or whatever by breaking into their house and trying to steal the guy's wallet and passport. What was the other thing he did? He threw a chair at some chick and hit her in the head. He really has a thing against women. And remember, he was accused of misgendering during sex by one of his partners and maybe not stopping when asked. The link won't work. So, newest accusation from the Metro. The Flash's Ezra Miller accused of grooming and controlling girl as parents ask for protection order. Just wait till you hear this one. Ezra Miller's been accused of grooming a girl who is now 18 since she was 12 years old and using violence and intimidation to control her. The parents of Takata Iron Eyes have filed legal documents seen by TMZ, which asked the court for protection order in order to keep the actor away from her. Iron Eyes, who is now 18, first met Miller when she was 12, and they were 23. I'm going to have to use he because they gets confusing in this article because it's often referring to multiple people instead of just Ezra. When Ezra was 23 and Miller was visiting the Standing Rock Reservation in North Dakota, where the pair developed a friendship, which her parents believe puts her at risk. Her parents state in the documents, as reported by TMZ, Ezra uses violence, intimidation, threats of violence, fear, paranoia, delusion, and drugs to hold sway over a young adolescent, Dakota. Iron Eyes' parents claim Miller flew her to London in 2017 when she was 14 and Ezra was 25 to visit the studio Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them was filmed at. And she was a fan of the actor and the franchise. They also alleged that Miller supplied their daughter with alcohol, marijuana, and LSD, as well as disrupting her education at a private institute in Massachusetts, so much that she ended up dropping out in December 2021. Iron Eyes' parents also say they flew to Miller's home in Vermont in January to collect her, but found she did not have access to her bank card, driver's license, and keys, among other items she would need to live independently. So Ezra's holding on to her personal effects. That sounds very cult-like. They also claim to have found bruises on Iron Eyes' body, which they allege were caused by Miller. He's beating up this chunky girl. Iron Eyes is said to have fled to New York to reunite with Miller after her parents brought her home. Before the pair traveled to Vermont, Los Angeles, and Hawaii, where Miller was arrested several times, including for an alleged assault. She apparently was with him when that happened. Meanwhile, Iron Eyes recently took to social media to tell her followers that she's mentally stable and that her comrade, Miller, has been a help in her life and she's looking forward to the future. So they're seeking a protective order to keep him away from their daughter, who he's been talking to since she was 12 years old. And at 14, he flew her to a studio. Yeah, there's something funny going on here. This dude's a fucking degenerate. No worries, comrade. Sometimes that just decides not to work. Stupid Streamlabs. Stupid sexy Streamlabs. Warm up the wood chipper. Yeah, this dude is looking weirder and weirder, and I don't know what the hell they're thinking by continuing to employ this psycho. So that's what the latest of Ezra Miller and his allegations of grooming. Always said he has that look. Yeah, it's that criminal head shape, the narrow face, and the kind of large head. All right. Let's see. Which one should we do next? Oh, remember the guy that did that mouse comic book? Well, he's upset because he's been, oh my God, censored. Well, Bleeding Fool has an opinion piece on this. Because all their stuff is opinion pieces. Richard Ramirez looks less. Yeah, right? It's horrible by the next movie. I don't know, Frosted. They're probably just going to replace everybody. They could call it the Abuser League and just make it up of all the people that have been arrested or accused of awful things. Art Spiegelman blames Christianity on his mouse being censored. It was the Jesus people, not the fact that it's inappropriate for the age group. The Australian youth magazine Happy spoke with cartoonist Art Spiegelman at a local convention, and he seems oblivious to valid queries whether his own side of the political spectrum has anything to do with Mouse being banished from Tennessee school libraries. It wasn't banished from the libraries. It was still in the library. It was banished from the curriculum. There's a massive difference there. Spiegelman went on to share what he thought were a few of the main reasons the Tennessee Board of Education wanted Mouse banned. Firstly, to keep children in a position of powerlessness, lest they ever think that it's okay to question authority or to question or to stand up to their parents in any way. Oh my God. Yes, because like middle school children should stand up to their parents. Fuck you. This was middle school. Second, he sees it as a push for parents to take their children out of public schools and re-enroll their children in Christian schools where there's less chance of reading books or other material they may consider unsafe or unchristian. When did religion come into this? This was a secular public school. They didn't do it on religious grounds. They did it on age appropriateness. And third, to Christianize Auschwitz, much in the way he thinks they did with Schindler's List. Because let's face it, Mouse is an eye-opener if ever there was one, with first-hand stories taken from real-life conversations with Spiegelman's father, making for a very compelling, astonishing, and deeply moving work of art, as much as it was when it first appeared in 1980. Oh, good grief. So he believes Christianity and only Christianity is responsible for this unfortunate ban on his book at Tennessee schools. It was not a ban. They simply took it off the curriculum because it wasn't age appropriate due to some of the language, circumstances, and nudity in the book. They replaced it. It's not like they took out all the Holocaust stuff. They just switched out another book. Schools do it all the time. Let's be clear. Nobody's saying religion isn't capable of leading to embarrassments like this one or that it never did. But if Spiegelman were serious, he'd recognize secular-minded liberals can perform censorship too for very unaltruistic reasons. And why does he think it's okay if children grow up to be vulgar? That's particularly what led to the prevailing mentality during World War II and the Holocaust. If there's no education provided on why it pays to be polite and good-natured, is it any wonder there's bound to be a lack of respect for human life somewhere around the corner? That's a fair point. In addition, Spiegelman believes children should be allowed to question authority. Does he also believe they should be allowed to question the left wing takes on authority? No. Same as the left-leaning parents who could have their questionable MOs. Yeah, good luck if you're a trans kid and you decide to go against your parents later on down the line. So yeah, he's just seeing it through a very limited scope and like, oh, the Jesus people did this. Obviously, it's not for any realistic reason that maybe 8th graders don't need to see your creepy mouse book about a bunch of people getting raped and murdered by the fucking Nazi cats. There's plenty of other books like The Wave that can get the message across just fine. So he's just an out-of-touch old man trying to sound edgy and blaming the old people or the Christian people's what old people did back in the 80s. And he's still stuck in that mentality, I think. Reading the actual history and watching the films, no, that will give you perspective, and they don't want that. They want their perspective. They don't want objective realities. Oh, assassin, that's a hate fact. Secular liberals are literally force Christians out of public schools, take kind of simmered down with the favor being returned. Oh, there's that. Doubt anyone is awake, but I reached out to Streamlabs. Seems the whole donation service is down. Oh, thanks, Monkey. I'm not surprised. It tends to go down around 4 o'clock. I think they do maintenance around this time, but it did it a couple other times when I was streaming at this time. American Tail did the story better. Yeah, of course. And it had music. They're probably hacked. Never know. All right. So that's Art Spiegelman being a douche nozzle. Oh, my art is so amazing. Oh my God. Have you heard how amazing I am? I bet you haven't heard how amazing I am. I'm pretty amazing. Just ask me. All right, let's laugh at Nintendo for a second. I thought this was funny. This comes from Game Rant. Pokemon fan finds bootleg cartridge made by Nihilendo. Light platinum version. A Pokemon fan has shared an amusing video showing the strange ways the Nintendo company name is falsely printed inside a game cartridge. There's a good reason that this Game Boy Advance game has these errors, though, and it's not only Pokemon game out there with a false company name hidden inside. I don't care about Pokemon's debut. Posting to the Pokemon subreddit, that sentence makes me sad. A user by the name of Gumbo Scrimps shared a video showing the inside of a Pokemon Light Platinum game cartridge. Once opened, it becomes clear that something isn't right. The Nintendo company name appears to be printed on the PCB as Nilendo. In response to the thread, one reader claimed they had worked at a retro game store and had come across many fake Nintendo names and cartridges, their favorite being Nilitando. They're probably Chinese. This Pokemon game cartridge, like many circulating in the secondhand market, is a complete fake. The cartridge itself wasn't produced or endorsed by Nintendo, and Pokemon Light Platinum was never an official release for the Game Boy Advance. Rather, the game is what is known as a ROM hack, in which creative fans modify an existing Pokemon game into something new. However, Nintendo has been known to take action against unofficial Pokemon projects that gain attention, such as the time Pokemon Prism was shut down with a cease and desist order. Yeah, they will sue the ever-loving shit out of you, both Nintendo and Pokemon. Despite this stance by Nintendo, ROM hacks are easily accessible online and are sometimes sold on physical cartridges by bootleg game manufacturers. I didn't realize the Game Boy Advance games were still played by that enough people that making a bootleg of them would be viable. I guess that's a thing. Shows what I know. But I thought it was funny enough to share. So if you want to read more about it, I imagine there's a pretty good collector's market for that stuff, though. It's probably a niche collecting thing where, I collect knockoff games. There's some great fan-made Mario ROM hacks out there. Nintendo needs to embrace the love. Pikemon Punch. They should do themed ones where they rename them all like cowboy and Indian names, stuff like that. All right, let's look at some actual comic news. Leftists will complain about colonialism while importing third world into your homes. Yeah, colonialism is okay when they do it. So is cultural appropriation, remember. From Bleeding Cool, DC Comics last minute change for new Justice League and Dark Crisis. 2 months ago, Bleeding Cool ran a scoop for the new Justice League lineup for Dark Crisis #1, published next week. It's out now. There's still spoilers until then, of course, so know this going in. Yeah, I don't really care. So heads up. Of course, we don't know how long this new lineup will last, but we spell out what will be coming, at least initially being put together by John Kent Superman, along with other bits of Dark Crisis gossip. So, remember, John Kent, who has barely any experience being Superman, is leading a new Justice League. Not Martian Manhunter, not Firestorm, or some of the other A-level heroes, power-wise, that could be leading it, that are just sort of like B characters, like Firestorm. He's very powerful. He's been around for ages, lots of combat experience. He's been on the Justice League. No, we're not going to use him. What about Hal Jordan? He didn't die. Why don't you have him lead it? He's led the Justice League several times. No, we're going to go with John Kent because agenda. So I think Rich Johnson posted this. Yeah. He says, because it's not easy to put a new Justice League together these days, especially if new Batman and Wonder Woman don't want in. Even Peacemaker says no, and he's Peacemaker. Why would you even? That's fifth string. Superman will take what he could get, and that's John Kent, Superman, Damian Wayne, Robin, Harley Quinn, Mary Marvel, Kimio Hoshi, Dr. Light, Caitlin Snow, Killer Frost, Ted Kord, Blue Beetle. Ted Kord has more experience than almost everybody on this list. Jamie Reyes, Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, and Jackson Hyde, Aquaman. Oh yes, and Frankenstein, the monster, not the doctor. That's a distinct difference. His name wasn't Frankenstein; he's Frankenstein's monster. Dark Crisis #1 will reveal all, but from copies already on sale at comic book shops. Bleeding Cool is told that the lineup is just as we said, except that it has Supergirl instead of Mary Marvel. Supergirl has more experience than John Kent. Except here's the thing, we have confirmed that 2 months ago it was Mary Marvel, not Supergirl. And that between then and now, the artwork for the comic book has changed. It's not only the time, blah. It's not the only time this kind of thing has happened. Previously, DC Comics switched one Robin for another after there was confusion between writer, artist, and editorial. But this time it went further to colors before anyone, for whatever reason, decided to switch to Mary Marvel for Supergirl. What politics could have been at play? Why do you assume it was politics? So notice the lineup here is pictured. Why is he front and center? More experience, 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 more experience. Why is he leading a team, and why is the third Robin in it? I mean, shit, Black Adam could lead this team. He at least knows what they're up against. Ridiculous. I have no interest in reading this. I picked up the free comic book day issue. It's sitting right here in front of me. And I really have no interest in reading it. It's just sitting here, mocking me. It's just more pandering. They're going to have Black Batman in it. And they're going to have diversity hire Wonder Woman. And because they have to. This was designed to be replacing the original heroes. And it sounds like they're going to keep this as the Justice League with the new replacement heroes. So the book's going to fail. But nobody cares about these characters. And they probably switched Supergirl and Mary Marvel because Supergirl's more popular. And they're hoping that'll bring in some extra sales from thirsty fanboys. But let's look at this cast. Damian Wayne, not that popular. There are people that like him, but not nearly as popular as Tim Drake or Dick Grayson. Also not as much experience. Harley Quinn, she's in everything now. Why? She doesn't have any superpowers. Supergirl replaced Mary Marvel. Okay, but again, she's regulated to the background. Dr. Light, okay, decent character. The other one, fine. Fine. This Dr. Light's okay. Killer Frost, former villain, really? Why? Ted Kord, arguably the Batman of this lineup, but between him and Supergirl are the only good choices on here. Jamie Reyes, he's a diversity hire from early on, but at least his character's useful, and he's usually pretty well written. Booster Gold, pretty powerful. But again, none of these guys are leadership. Why aren't they in charge instead of Mr. No Experience? And Jackson Hyde Aquaman sucks. Why would you pick him when Murrah's available? That makes no sense. Murrah's way more powerful and a better pick. No, not the Mega Man character, Frosted. They may as well bring in Kermit the Frog. Yeah, pretty much, Pete. I think we all dated her for a bit. It's probably the reason I don't like her. So, yeah, it's terrible choices for characters and really lazy. But a lot of them are there because let's look at it carefully. Damian Wayne, half Middle Eastern. John Kent, bisexual. Harley Quinn, lesbian. Supergirl and Mary Marvel, as far as we know, they're both still straight. Dr. Light I believe, has a couple kids, but she's Asian. Caitlin Snow, Killer Frost, neurodivergent, shall we say. Ted Cord, Blue Beetle, probably the only straight white man here. Jamie Reyes, he's Puerto Rican. Booster Gold, no, he's Booster Gold straight and white too. And Jackson Hyde is brown ambiguously and bisexual as well. Or straight up gay, I don't remember anymore. So Booster Gold and Blue Beetle, Ted Cord, I think are only in the book because they had a relatively successful miniseries a couple months ago. I wouldn't have read this crap as a kid. I wouldn't either. Now this to be fair, Booster isn't leadership material. No, but at least he has combat experience. He makes sense on the team. He has some abilities that would be useful. And he has Skeets to help him with information, stuff like that. Ted Cord has a lot of leadership background, and he is a Batman style character because he's one of the old Charlton characters that DC acquired years ago. But at least those guys have experience, whereas John Kent has been around in the universe for like, what, a year as a superhero? He doesn't have enough experience to lead a team against a crisis level event. That's dumb. It makes no sense. The lineup is a bunch of nobodies, really, third stringers. And if you're going to get third stringers, why aren't you getting the big guns? Why aren't you getting the powerful characters? Where's Captain Atom? Where's Firestorm? If you're having a crisis level event, you need your most powerful. Harley Quinn should be nowhere near this list. This should be all-stars. Not just your A-list, but anybody that has Omega level powers. Metahumans with real abilities. Captain Atom absolutely should be on this team. Firestorm should be on this team. This is dumb. This is really, really dumb. That made me angry. Harley Quinn has a bat and an outfit that Hot Topic can sell, Jack. That's true. And she does like hot scissoring action with Poison Ivy. What about Slipknot? I hear he could climb anything. I'm not going to respond to that. Hey, Beth. Harley Quinn has the power of edge. Yeah, and all the pseudo fake fangirls love her because they can cosplay as her and show off their, stunning chubs. Were you a fan of 2000 AD? I read it for a little while, but it's really hard to get here in the States. You have to special order it, and it's super expensive, so I rarely ever read it. But I liked a lot of the Judge Dredd stuff back in college, and the stuff I read in high school I liked, but I haven't read it in a really long time. We need the girl with the soul-sucking katana. Oh, wait, katana. She would be much more useful. You're not wrong, Deckfish. She'd be a better choice than some of these ridiculous ones. So, yeah. Harley Quinn just needs to be used less. She's just everywhere. Yep. She's popular at the moment, so they got to milk it for everything. Over at ICV2, WizKids is offering a new D&D Classic collection of minis. A through C set of pre-painted miniatures will be released in October. Going all the way back to the very first Dungeons & Dragons Monster Manual for inspiration, series of pre-painted miniatures depicts some of the most iconic creatures from the history of the famous RPG. The first set draws from the beginning of the alphabet and is expected to include an Enkig, Basilisk, Beholder, Bullet, Carrion Crawler, Chimera, Cockatrice, and Kotai. The sculpts for these monsters are based on the original artwork from the 1977 book. Manufacturer retail price would be $100 per set. Models are supplied pre-painted. The images and miniatures list is not final and is subject to change. Other classic monsters will appear in miniature form from WizKids in October, including a set of Beholders, the Purple Worm, and a large black dragon. Let's take a look at these images. All right, so there's your Carrion Crawler. That looks pretty cool, actually. There's Basilisk. Beholder. Yep, nice. Looks good. Yep. Oh, no, that's the carrion crawler. Yep, looks good. Cockatrice, yeah. Yeah, these look pretty cool. $100 is way too expensive, though. But the fact they're based on this off this 1977 book is probably because they're worried about new TSR, which they are still suing. I haven't seen any new updates on that, but yeah, that's going to be ugly. But they look cool, but I'm not buying them from them. I'm not giving them directly any money. I'm doing okay, Deckfish. How you doing? Of hand-painted Peter Battletech minis. Nobody wants them. Oh, that sucks. Battletech was a fun game. Damian Wayne shouldn't even exist. The cocky, unwanted bastard. Right? He's a terrible character. He's really annoying. Harley Quinn was at her best when she was Joker's crazy crone. Yeah, you're not wrong. It's really talented artists for those books. Yeah, they did. AD&D 1 and 2 were the real AD&D. Absolutely, Gorebag. Cockatrice? What? No, a cockatrice. It's a magic chicken. Hi, Spud. How's it going? So, yeah, if you want to look at those a little closer on your monitors, there's the link. Final Army assessments in 2 weeks. Oh, good. Good luck, dude. I'm sure you'll do fine. All right. Now, we already had that crappy MODOK show. So if you were thinking, how could they do worse than Patton Oswalt as MODOK in a wacky comedy when things like Ghostbusters 2016 exist? Now, I want you to think, how can we combine the two to make something even dumber? And I want you to actually think about that for a minute. How could you make something both obnoxious and of low quality and still manage to gender swap and probably race swap a character in there? Well, don't have to think too hard for it, I'm afraid. Because the answer is right here with us. From Bounding into Comics, Ghostbusters Answer the Call star Leslie Jones to lead gender-swapped Plastic Man adult cartoon for HBO Max. Because that's what everybody wants, right? This is a good use of your subscription money, your hard-earned money going toward an unfunny comedian and a racially swapped character, because why not? Just, what the fuck are you guys doing over there? David Zaslav needs to fire a lot more people because this stuff is stupid. Leslie Jones is getting the chance to step behind the microphone and stretch her acting skills. Let's not get carried away. As the SNL cast member and star of Paul Feig's Ghostbusters is set to headline a new animated show centering on a gender-swapped revamp of DC hero Plastic Man. It's not going to be Plastic Man, then, is it? According to Variety, Jones is set to star in Plastic Woman, an adult cartoon that is in early development and is reportedly similar in tone to Harley Quinn, which was a really stupid show. I'm sorry. At least that's the pitch. As noted by the trade outlet, the series does not yet have a title, surprisingly, or a network destination, though it's hard to picture the DC Warner animated project eventually landing on HBO Max or Adult Swim. They'll go for both. Further, no writers' services are tapped and no other actors are mentioned, nor is there a plot to speak of. That's what they're saying so far, but I'd be willing to bet this is further along than we want to admit to. At present, all that's known is that Jones is also executive producing the project, so it'll be even less funny. It's currently the only name publicly attached to it. Notably, Jones's Plastic Man Woman is unrelated to the cinematic female-centric spin on the character that was reportedly in development in 2020, which thankfully fell apart. Regardless, as a feature film, that project came from fledgling screenwriter Kat Vasco, an unknown screenwriter whose film Enemies Within was lauded as one of 2020's best unproduced scripts, and was an attempt by DC Films and Walter Hamada to salvage an even earlier Plastic Man idea from 2018. I don't know how you screw up a Plastic Man movie. There was a cartoon of him in the 70s. Just go back and milk that for info. And there's hundreds of comic books with Plastic Man in it. Nothing new has come up about it in nearly 2 years, and it's likely dead in the water now that Discovery and David Zaslav have taken control of Warner Brothers. They're in the midst of cancellation spree in the name of lowering costs. Yet this is still being floated. The opposite is true for the aforementioned HBO Max Harley Quinn animated series, which is set to both return for a third season and get a spin-off called Noonans, starring the show's popular take on Kite Man. That I watched a couple episodes of this Harley Quinn show, and it's fucking dumb. These 3 DC series are part of Warner Brothers' ever-expanding aim at producing adult animated spin-offs of their popular franchises, an effort which also includes upcoming race-bent Velma Dinkley series starring Mindy Kaling, which looked really, really dumb. More hipster nonsense. On an interesting note, if Jones's Plastic Man moves forward, she'll be the last of the foursome who started Feige's Ghostbusters to have become involved in a DC project since that film's production. Aside from Jones, Melissa McCarthy starred in the already forgotten adaptation of the graphic novel The Kitchen. Kate McKinnon is in the upcoming Super Pets movie, and Kristen Wiig was most notably Cheetah in Wonder Woman 1984. This is going to be dumb. First of all, this lady can't act. I'm sorry. And gender swapped Plastic Man. Who asked for this? Why? What's the point? Where's your audience for this? But they never say, is there an audience for this? Because who wants to watch that? Nobody wants to watch a stretchy woman. That's weird. It's kind of dumb. What's Miss Marvel? Doesn't exist to me. I watched the first episode of Miss Marvel. It was Lizzie McGuire meets well, to be fair, Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern, but Green Lantern was better, sadly. Entertainment is nothing but stick it to Whitey now. You might not be entirely wrong, yeah. So they've all been in failed comic adaptations? Yep. There already is a Catman Deckfish, and I'm surprised nobody uses him that much anymore. He deserves his own show. It would be gender equity, after all. So I don't know what the audience is for this shit, but there you go. All right. Suppose we got to do this one. This is from the Gamer via MSM. DC under fire for including straight flag in Pride Month comic. How dare they? How dare they? It's Pride Month, and to celebrate, DC has released all things LGBTQ plus comic. But aside from controversial storytelling and stereotypes, Superman is a straight pride flag on his cape, making this comic less a celebration, more of a controversy. Yeah, his Technicolor gay coat here has a straight pride flag on it, apparently. I don't know what any of this means because I can't read flags. I don't live in the Middle Ages. Let me pause that shit. As pictured above, the straight flag is joined by other LGBT plus flags, but its inclusion has sparked controversy because Pride Month is about queer culture and embracing LGBTQ plus identities and having small children at drag bars shaking their asses for dollar bills, apparently. Including the straight pride flag flies in the face of that because, as the saying goes, straight pride is in every month, much like White History Month or Men's Day. Wow, there's some hate in your heart. Pride Month is about stepping aside and celebrating LGBTQ plus people, and also the inclusion of this flag has irked readers. Nobody's reading this book. And look at that crappy art. Why does his arm look like that? Who stands like this? If you don't know or can't spot it in the picture, the straight pride flag is one with horizontal black and white stripes, like a cartoonish prison jumpsuit. What this? Whatever. It's just behind Superman's lower legs, detracting from the whole collage. Pointing this out, users have been met with bigotry, slurs, and why not include everyone comments. I'm considering it a microaggression that DC okayed the straight pride flag to be drawn in a pride event. Nebula should have killed Thanos. Okay, Gwen Stacy-ing. Oh, God. Get a fucking hobby. A real one, not your fake hobbies. Nobody buys these books. These anthology books, these Pride anthologies, they all end up in the dollar bin. The comic shop I go to has a lot of gay people there, okay? And I've seen their subscription forms. I'm at the comic shop a fair amount. And the one that has a larger contingent of LGBTQ, they'll sell 2 or 3 of these books because they're $10 a piece. It's a total cash grab. They're it's an anthology, so it's like 8 pages at most for a story. And they're just shameless pandering. They'll sell a handful of them, and the rest, there's stacks of them, will end up in the dollar bin. It happens every year, every time. Doesn't matter if it's DC or Marvel. They all end up in the dollar bin. And there's always like 30 or 40 of them in there. It's just a waste of money. Comic shop paid like $4 or $5 a piece for them, and they're going to recoup $1. The same Superman who has the invincible twink boyfriend. Yep. That's not a comic? No, it's not. It's shameless pandering. As Nebula sums up with the reactionary meme picture, Pride exists because the oppression cishet people have committed against the LGBTQ community for literally centuries. Cishet people don't need representation at these events when they are the cause of why they happen in the first place. You do realize you're an extreme minority, and constantly shitting on the majority might not end well for you at some point. Like that, I mean, just thinking long term, constantly trying to shit on people that are in the majority may create animosity. Just throwing that idea out there that maybe that isn't a great idea. Superman wears straight pride flag in DC's 2022 Pride comic special. Sounds like a joke. But Neb's good takes, that's not a good take. Who cares? Maybe don't put any of that shit on his fucking cape. Another sticking point in the comics is how they've depicted bisexuality, leaning into the stereotype of bi men wanting to sleep with everybody. Similarly, despite being a Pride Month comic, does little to touch on Tim Drake's bisexuality, focusing more on his relationship with Bernard. See, they're never happy. You can't make people happy by trying to pander to them. Just write a good story. But they don't do that. Yeah, what's most egregious about this whole controversy is that Superman's cape bears a straight pride flag, not the trans pride flag, yet again erasing trans people. You're not being erased by being left out. You're not erasing anybody. There's nobody walking around with the dip and the judge is trying to stick all the people in it. This is not Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So there you go. People are bitching about one of these fucking stupid made-up flags. These aren't real. Nobody outside of like the internet knows anything about this crap. You talk to anybody that your average comic reader is in their 40s now. People in my age demographic, unless they're on the internet all the time, have no fucking clue what these flags are. And you have to really spend a lot of time on and watch shows like The Corner on Frosted Glasses channel or Monkey in the Morning on Ranting Monkey's channel. Wonder twins, but they bump booties, and one can form a sex toy and the other bodily fluid. You know, Rodline, that would not surprise me at this point. A lot of this stuff is just getting really, really dumb. Gay is just a side effect of superpowers. Based on the disproportionate number of gay people in superhero comics these days, you wouldn't be wrong. But there are comics like that, some of the fringe Kickstarter stuff where all the superheroes are gay, and it's weird fantasy stuff. All right, we'll do a couple more articles and then a wrap up. All right, let's talk about how I'm going to get married, or was going to, if I ever got married. This is from the AP. And now the fun is over. Company to Las Vegas chapels, no more Elvis-themed weddings. How dare you appropriate a dead celebrity. Las Vegas chapels of love that use Elvis Presley likeness can find themselves becoming heartbreak hotels. The only way I'm going to marry a woman is if she agrees. We don't actually have to do it, but she has to agree to get married by Elvis in Vegas. That's a rule. That's not negotiable. If she's not even willing to consider that, she's not good enough. I have standards. The licensing company that controls the name and image of the king is ordering Sin City Chapel operators to stop using Elvis in themed ceremonies, the Las Vegas Review-Journal reported on Monday. Authentic Brands Group sent cease and desist letters in early May to multiple chapels, which are expected to be compliant by now. With Elvis so closely tied to Vegas weddings industry, some say the move could decimate their businesses. We are a family-run business, and now we're hanging with the big dogs, says Kayla Collins, who operates Las Vegas Elvis Wedding Chapel.com and the Little Chapel of Hearts with her husband. That's our bread and butter. I don't get it. We are just hitting our stride again through COVID. Then this happens. Clark County Clerk Lynn Goya, who led a marketing campaign promoting Las Vegas as a wedding destination, said the order for chapels to stop using Elvis couldn't have come at a worse time for the sector. The city's wedding industry generates $2 billion a year, and officials say Elvis-themed weddings represent a significant number of the ceremonies performed. It might destroy a portion of our wedding industry. A number of people may lose their livelihood. One chapel last week had its Elvis impersonator changed instead into a leather jacket, jeans, and a fedora for a rock and roll themed ceremony, the Journal reported. Graceland Wedding Chapel, which performs 6,400 Elvis-themed weddings per year, has not been served a warning yet, according to manager Rod Muzzum. Authentic Brands Group did not immediately respond Tuesday to an emailed request for comment. The licensing company oversees the estates of big names like movie stars Marilyn Monroe and boxer Muhammad Ali and 50 consumer brands. In the cease and desist letter, the company said it will halt unauthorized use of Presley's name, likeness, voice, image, or other elements of Elvis Presley's persona in advertisements, merchandise, and otherwise. The letter also said Elvis Presley, and the King of Rock and Roll are protected trademarks. The order should not translate into legal action. The order should not translate into legal action against Elvis-themed stage shows in Las Vegas, such as All Shook Up, because impersonating someone for live performances such as shows is considered an exemption under Nevada's right of publicity law, according to Mark Trantros, a local attorney who helped write the statute. An Elvis shows a performer essentially entertaining others by recreating that person's on stage, Trantros said. Ken Ripley, whose business is called Elvis Weddings, said he has never run into the issue in 25 years of performing as Elvis. They want to protect the Elvis brand, but what are they protecting by taking Elvis away from the public? They're protecting their wallets. So what they need to do is retheme these as concerts and say, hey, you look like a happy couple. Why don't I marry you? And then they're doing a performance and they'd just be singing the whole time. Like, sing the wedding vows to them and have them say their I do's and make it into a performance. They haven't been enforcing this ever. I've never heard of them hitting anybody unless they were doing like some criminal activity or trying to make a movie or something. I've never heard of them going after these wedding chapels before, because it really does help keep the Elvis image alive. But I think they're doing this because there's a new Elvis movie coming out and they're trying to cash in on that. But the fact that these guys are making money off Elvis's image, Elvis has been dead since 1977. How are you still... I understand they have trademarks on his name and stuff like that, but how has that not become common vernacular by now and falling into the public domain for at least his likeness? Because going after these people now, after it's been allowed to go on for so long, I think these people could probably fight it. It would just cost a lot of money, and they don't have that. So this is bullshit. They're just shitting on these people because they want to profit off of it. And I get it, but let it go. He's been dead for decades. You're not getting anything. So all the Elvis impersonators are going to overdose on their toilets now? Yes, probably. Wow, drunk people getting married on a whim sure do have a lot of money. It's actually pretty cheap to do these. So they just do them by volume. And, I mean, it's a couple $100 to get married by Elvis. But yeah, $2 billion a year is a fair amount of cash. They go on cruises all the time and they suck. Yeah. The authentic Vegas feel. Musical Elvis concert weddings might be a winning idea. Go for it, man. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what they should do. Then they charge an admission fee instead of a wedding fee. And they could just do like, yeah, have a couple people in there or just private concert. Oh, we're doing a concert. He's singing. He was singing a song and they wanted to get married. So we married them and they're just audience members. I think that's probably the way around this. It's a long shot, but it's a better shot than letting them bully you around over somebody that's been dead for that long. Like, you don't hear about Buddy Holly themed weddings. All right, let me find a good article to wrap up on because we're approaching the time here. Yeah, that one can wait. This is riveting stuff. I had like 30 things and I knew I wasn't going to get to them all. Oh, there's one we got to cover. Yeah, there's going to be a couple here. We'll talk about the Munsters movie in the next episode. Because that looks like it might be pretty fun. I'm going to try and do another one of these streams later in the week. Okay, yeah, we're going to do like 2 more, maybe 3. Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right. Maybe a few more. I don't know. All right. Speaking of Discovery Plus, because Discovery is part of the theme here with Ezra Miller and his nonsense over at Warner Brothers. Because remember, Warner and Discovery merged 45 years. I mean, come on, right? And you're just now enforcing the likeness thing? Come on. Exactly, Comrade Kitty. Book shows every half hour. The audience can act as witnesses. Yeah, exactly. They have professional witnesses. Like, it's usually somebody else that works there, and they just co-sign on it. But yeah, you could just do all the paperwork in advance, and as the ceremony is just part of the show. Yeah, and you just do a show every half hour, and you only have to do 1 or 2 songs. Yeah, just hire an extra Elvis impersonator, and the show starts when the crowd shows up. There's a Rob Zombie Munsters movie. Yeah, it's the filming's moving along quite nicely. Start off with movies, and they're like, "What's this?" Then garbage. I kind of like a lot of his movies actually, because he likes low budget bad movies from the same era I do, like and Faster Pussycat Kill Kill. I mean, the band name White Zombie was from a movie. And if you look at the background of a lot of the stuff, he's clearly inspired by a lot of stuff from the 60s. All right, Bounding into Comics is talking Discovery Generation Drag exposes how drag queens are used to groom damaged children. Well, look at that. I'm shocked. It's June, everyone, and you know what that means. Get ready to see some rainbows. More rainbows than an episode of My Little Pony on DMT. That's a great opening line. Now watching a TV show about 10-year-olds becoming sexualized drag performers probably isn't your cup of tea, and there's perhaps a list out there for people who love that type of content. Yeah, should be a list, but nobody's investigating Epstein Island, are they? One thing that you have to understand about Hollywood and the way the studios operate is that they are producing questionable content. They're doing it for a reason. For years, the LGBTQ community has claimed that no one is after your kids, except the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus, who said the quiet part out loud. But when Disney went to war against the state of Florida over their parents' rights and education law, that bans the teaching of gender identity and transgender ideology to children in kindergarten through third grade, that narrative changed. The message went from "we aren't grooming your children" to "protect trans kids." You look creepy. That's nightmare fuel. Like that white paint, that's a little too clownish for me. I gotta get that off the screen. If you have followed the Twitter account Libs of TikTok over the last few months, then you've noticed a massive increase in American public schools sponsoring drag events with an audience full of children. Some of the children participate in the events without the knowledge of their parents, of course. At the end of May, the account revealed a performance at Abbott Middle School in Illinois. There's the video link if you want to watch it. I can't put it on here. I'm not getting a strike. On May 15th, they reported that a school counselor in Arizona was accused of having sex with a teen student after organizing a drag show. The account then followed up by noting that a teacher in Arizona was arrested after arranging a drag show for allegedly having sex with a student. There you go. Former school counselor accused of having sex with a teen student. It's the one that organized this, and the name is circled there. In a subsequent tweet, Libs of TikTok reported in Jasper, Indiana, a pride event with a drag queen performance is being advertised to all ages, and they are encouraging kids to bring cash to tip the drag queens. Not coming for your kids at all, guys. Back in April 12th, Libs of TikTok reported students in Middleton Cross Plains area school district were treated to a drag queen performance by a drag teacher during school hours. Imagine if they focused on teaching math, science, and history instead of drag. This is sickening. They don't teach anything in schools anymore. This is the type of shit your kids are seeing. No wonder kids can't read. Media outlets such as the Washington Post were so upset at this Twitter account for exposing what's happening at American schools, they released a full-blown hit piece to bring the account and the woman behind it down. They attacked a woman. Why is the Amazon-backed paper so committed to stopping Libs of TikTok? That's an irrelevant question because you should be asking yourself, why are there so many drag queens events in public schools? Why is Drag Queen Story Hour being pushed in so many public squares towards our youth? And why is the military of the U.S. allowing drag queens to read to children on base? The answer becomes crystal clear when you watch Generation Drag. You may remember after watching a preview for Generation Drag a few weeks ago, former model Tyra Banks executive produced the series for the streaming service Discovery Plus, and now the 6-episode series has been released just in time for Pride Month. The show is a documentary-style series that profiles the lives of children as young as 10 years old as they prepare to perform at Dragotante, like Dragtante, like debutante, I guess, a drag show that is designed especially for minors. Oh my God, that's fucking pedos. The show explains how each child found their way into the LGBT community, with most of them claiming they knew they were LGBTQ at ages that predate kindergarten. The stories are very similar. A child who grew up in a family that would be considered financially well off but didn't fit in with their peers. Some children showing clear signs of emotional abuse have all found new light as child drag performers. That's who groomers target, is kids that are emotionally abused or come from broken homes. During the initial testimony, each child tells a similar story about how they went to a pride parade or they watched an episode of RuPaul's Drag Race and immediately became interested in the world of drag. This is where the children gain their identity as a member of the LGBTQ community. Soon these children would adopt pronouns and gender identities as their parents would have to conform to. Their parents should be like, no. The parents of these children are all confused by their children's newfound persona as drag queens, but after doing what everyone called research, which consists of reading articles online about LGBTQ identities that are never explained in any detail in the series, the entire family becomes proud supporters of their new drag children, and they go on shopping sprees together to find dresses, mini skirts, and leather boots for children, some as young as 10 years old. So what did we learn here? A lot if you're paying attention. Not every child on this show talked about how drag queen programming was their introduction into the LGBTQ community. Each child talked about how watching drag queens on television inspired them to become drag queens themselves. It's clear based on the testimony of the children themselves that the drag queens had an effect on them, and many see them as a gateway into the much broader LGBT community itself. This is not projection or speculation. This is straight from their own mouths. With the information being known, ask yourself this question. If you were trying to groom more children into the LGBTQ community, how would you do it? With drag queens. Where do you have access to most children at one location? Schools. In a world where food processing plants in the U.S. are exploding at an alarming rate with little to no explanation or coverage, there's been 16 so far, to assuming everything is just a coincidence is foolish. Generation Drag claims to want to give voices to LGBTQ youth who would otherwise have them, but reading between the lines exposes a bigger game at play. When these child drag stars become more popular with the LGBT community, they begin to be mentioned by other much older drag queens, much of which are in their 40s and 50s. The children call these people their drag moms. The older drag queens guide the children and their parents into the world of drag, and the audience are treated to 12-year-old boys in skirts and knee-high socks learning how to walk in platform heels. Now, of course, only a bigot would have a serious question about the morality or even legality behind a 50-year-old man training a scantily clad preteen in how to dress and walk like a grown woman. But fortunately, we live in a society where you are not allowed to even question the motivation of a scenario like this. Or the fact that the kids are now getting a lot of parental attention by doing this. So they go shopping together, they do stuff together, they get a lot of attention and validation from the parents. So of course they're going to keep doing it. It's child psychology 101. It's pretty hard not to watch a show like this and not be immediately depressed at the reality of the situation. These children have no real guidance in their lives. They have no true sense of community around them. And their parents have essentially given them to the drag community to be groomed and raised in society. Most of these kids don't even have real friends. So the only person considered such are the middle-aged drag queens leading them in the first place. But that doesn't matter to the LGBTQ because broken and vulnerable children seem to be the bread and butter of the drag community. When you understand the story that the show is telling, you understand why so many major entertainment corporations and activist organizations are focusing on increasing the exposure of LGBTQ content to children and why they are using drag queens to do it. A community that cannot reproduce naturally can only grow through its indoctrination, and the end result is a community that can no longer reproduce. It is important now more than ever to pay close attention to what your children and who your kids are being exposed to, because the LGBT community has plans for your children, whether you factor into those plans or not. See, what they don't really cover is the fact that who had this show on that these kids were seeing. Because the kids didn't find it on their own. They were watching it on TV. So one of the parents was watching it. And the fact they're doing this in schools is really disturbing. Little kids don't need to be exposed to this. This is something adults do and kids do not understand. And it's getting worse. These people have all the power and control. World Economics Forum. Oh, whoops. They said it's only a conspiracy. Yep. So Generation Drag. It's an entire show about, it's a 6-episode miniseries, I guess, about little kids hanging out with older men who dress them as women and teach them to walk. That's not creepy at all. Not creepy at all. Nothing to see here, you bigot. You will fall in line or you will be destroyed. Oh, thank you, Totally Not Monkey. Appreciate that. Streamlabs finally got back to Monkey and they said they fixed it. They're mostly justice. They're most justice. Donate to Jack. Thanks, Monkey. Appreciate it, man. All right. Let's see here. All right, we're only going to do 3 more, and they're pretty short. Then we'll be done. All right, from Dicebreaker, Return to Dark Tower tabletop RPG has players fighting against their own GM. This is by Alex Meehan, one of our favorite fake nerds on the internet. The official tabletop role-playing game based on Return to Dark Tower board game will have players trying to defeat their own game master. Return to Dark Tower fantasy role-playing is an upcoming RPG adapted from the recent board game remake of the classic tabletop titled Dark Tower, Return to Dark Tower, published by Restoration Games in 2022. Initially revealed in June 2021, the Kickstarter crowdfunding campaign for the TRPG. It's an RPG. Video games came after this. It's now live and has unveiled additional information about the role-playing game. In the description section of Return to Dark Tower Fantasy Role-Playing Kickstarter, it was revealed that players will be teaming up against their own game master, known as the Maze Controller, or MC, during the game. The GM will be taking on the role of the player's adversary, representing an overlord figure that's similar to the villains found in previous Dark Tower board games. A MC for Return to Dark Tower Fantasy Role-Playing can even choose to become one of the existing evils of the Dark Tower universe, such as the Bane Omens or the Ash Strider. The fuck is this guy doing? That's haunting. As the adversary, the MC will be in charge of running the game sessions and subsequently plotting against the players using whatever resources they have available to them. The Fantasy Tabletop RPG is compatible with the Mazes tabletop role-playing game, which is built on the Polymorph gameplay system, wherein each player has a single die to represent their character's respective abilities and their individual roles within the group. At the start of the game, each player create a hero and companion character, both originally from one of the four kingdoms in the Dark Tower universe, who will have their own abilities that they can utilize against the adversary and their minions. The players then traveled to the world of Dark Tower in search of valuable allies, armies, artifacts to employ in their fight to defeat the adversary during their quests. The players in Dark Tower Fantasy Roleplay will be attempting to either gain more power themselves or trying to reduce the adversary's advantage. So it's going to be published by 9th Level Games, and it's going to be about $50 for the pledge. It's going live until June 30th. Physical copies will come out next May. Digital version is $25. So all the links are here if you guys want to check it out. It's got a cool concept. I don't know if I like the system, but the concept could be pretty cool. So it's only every RPG ever. Yeah, pretty much. Don't most GMs plot against their players? I mean, they have to role play the bad guys in the story, don't they? Yeah, those are hate facts, Kyler, and these are fake nerds we're talking about. But I thought the table piece looked pretty cool, and overall, I thought that when I read about the game, it looked pretty good. So, if that's something you're interested in, there you go. All right. In hilarity, ICV2 is reporting 7 Seas will not voluntarily recognize union. Oh, that your progressive company doesn't want to recognize your stupid union? Issues response to employees organized union. The manga publisher 7 Seas Entertainment has provided ICV2 with an official statement responding to its employees' announcement last week they intend to unionize. The publisher will not voluntarily recognize United Workers of 7 Seas, UW7W. That's a stupid acronym. So employees will now vote on the question in an election supervised by the National Labor Relations Board. The 7 Seas statement says, "We respect the right of our employees to choose or not to choose union representation. While we have been requested by a number of employees to voluntarily recognize the CWA as their legal representative without an NLRB conducted election, we have decided to respect the right of all eligible employees to vote on this issue. Since unionization would affect more members of the staff than those who have already come forward, an election will ensure that everyone has the opportunity to learn about their rights and detail of the process before they cast their votes through a governed process. We have notified the NLRB that we are prepared to move forward with an election among the appropriate union of employees, and we will, of course, abide by the outcomes of the election." Now would be a good time to fire troublemakers. In their initial announcement, the employees stated that the union has over 40 employees, 30 signed in the statement that they are organizing. Union vote requires a simple majority of voters to be successful. I'd fire the shit out of the leaders of this. Find a reason. They're employed at will. Unions, fuck those guys. They only care about the leaders of the unions. Yeah, they fight for the lowest common denominator so they can make people lazier, and then they do nothing but collect money. I haven't seen a union do anything productive ever. They just take in a portion of your paycheck. Can we just go back to BattleTech and Shadowrun, 3rd edition D&D? I'd go back to 2nd because I liked it better. But yeah, I'd be fine with BattleTech. I live in a right-to-work state. Me too. They could fire you for this nonsense in my state. All they'll do is, instead of firing you for joining a union, they'll be like, hey, we don't like your tie. You're fired. We don't like your attitude. You smell like butthole or something like that. They'll find a reason. And then they just don't list the union organization as the catalyst for firing, and they'll be fine. In the final article, another Alex Meehan classic. Play D&D and color in at the same time with RPG Skyrealms. Nothing says you're a serious role player like a coloring book. So you can role play and still get that emotional validation and satisfaction you deeply, deeply need because you're such a fragile little child. Embark on adventures in Dungeons & Dragons in an artistic project with Skyrealms, an upcoming tabletop role-playing game setting featuring coloring in. They're like British or some shit, so they put U's and everything. Skyrealms is a tabletop RPG setting designed to be used with a variety of different tabletop RPGs, systems including Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, Old School Essentials, and Troika. The setting revolves around a trio of floating islands that are obscured from the rest of the world via a thick veil of mist. Dwelling on the 3 islands are a number of strange and wonderful creatures that look like they're out of Adventure Time, slumbering and waiting to be woken by anyone who dares venture into their homes. Situated on the threshold between the land of the mortals and the realm of the gods above, the Skyrealms are a place of mystery and adventure that's primed for a visitation from a group of characters willing to brave its dangers. Skyrealms is a fantasy RPG setting that's contained within a book featuring tables and lore for game masters and players. You mean it's a game book? The lore is intended to be flexible enough to fit in with a wide variety of different gameplay systems, with 32 pages filled with information about the world and characters of Skyrealms. Alongside a map and encounter tables, Skyrealms features a collection of artwork that players and GMs can color in while it's playing the RPG. Oh boy, because I'm 5. The Skyrealms book contains a large collection of artwork that's entirely designed to be colored in, providing a nice distraction during breaks or potentially long stretches of combat. What, you want to distract your players even more when they're not trying to min-max everything? Alongside the main book, Skyrealms comes with 2 quick start adventure starter cards for players to begin their campaign or shape their one-shot sessions around. The RPG also comes with a bestiary, giving an overview of the strange and dangerous creatures that call the floating islands their home. You mean like this shitty Adventure Time thing that looks like a plug? Okay, that's fucking dumb. On top of all this is an adventure pamphlet and an almanac containing tables of random events, encounters, locations, and weather conditions, as well as solo game for exploring and drawing. Because you're a sad, lonely loser that nobody wants to play with if you're doing this shit. I would kick somebody out of my game group if they were doing this. Oh, you want to play color? You're a fucking idiot. Get out of my game. Get out. You're stupid. I don't want you here. I painted my own figures and built them. That's different. Those are miniatures. Grow the fuck up. Grow some big kid pubes. Yeah. This is stuff that little children would do. If you're playing with a 10-year-old, that's fine. They can color. But if you're an adult coloring book, what is wrong with you? It would be a good way to get kids into RPGs, but most kids that play this, little girls typically don't play RPGs. They have no interest in it. Young boys do because there's adventure, swordplay, fantasy. They're very imaginative. Girls want to go do other shit. Hashtag not all, but the majority don't want to do it. And this is some pandering, weird nonsense for emotionally damaged people that have nothing better to do but sit around and cry. So there you go. They finally crossed the Rubicon into coloring books that nobody wanted. I don't fucking know. Thank you, Keldrig. It's almost like those people know that unions destroy companies and only advocate for the use of unions and other people's companies. Yep. Yep. They don't care. They don't care who gets destroyed because they think it will benefit them. And it will, because a lot of these people are incompetent, lazy idiots, and they're the ones that the union will fight for. Of course, at some point, somebody lazier will come in, and then the union won't fight for them, and they'll be screwed. So, yep, I don't know. There's a lot of stupid crap going on. So, yeah, that's that. That's all I got today. That's all I can do. So we've seen a lot today. We've seen how much Disney doesn't want you to get married in the happiest place on earth, because I guess they hate the nuclear family, and they will run up and snatch away the ring from you at Disneyland Paris and probably all the other parks too, because they don't care about you. They just want your money. Once you're in the door, they've already got your money, and they're probably milking you for more money. So they'll snatch the ring out of your hand and tell you to get off the platform, even though you had permission to be there. And they will do it with a smile. So Disney hates you. Marvel Comics is incompetent, with characters with belly button lit, and the X-Men being the most fascistic group on the comic book worlds right now. Ezra Miller still has a job somehow, even though he's been accused of all sorts of heinous things in the last year. And Warner Brothers still wants to associate with them. Of course, they also gave a lot of money to Amber Heard to be in Aquaman 2 after she was accused of being a domestic abuser, which she admitted to on recording from the sound of it, from what I saw in that trial. And yeah, Warner Brothers Discovery must be a real great place to work, because Discovery has drag kids. So there's a lot of dark stuff going on out there in the world, and yeah, it's all pretty disgusting. Nerd culture has become mainstream, and it's been embraced and taken over by a bunch of America-hating communists, from what I can tell. So, no, Kyler, nobody comes up with their own adventures or settings anymore, because it's a lot of work. They're really lazy, not creative, and it might be politically incorrect. Remember, we did see Candle Keep Mysteries with wheelchair ramps, so that they're American with Disabilities compliant. We've seen miniatures with characters in wheelchairs. And we've seen them adapt basically a Harry Potter setting in the lamest possible way, so that you can have poetry rap battles as actual combat. Makes me want to do my own Harry Potter style setting, but have it much more violent and bloodthirsty and totally not PC. But nobody would buy it, because the people running things now would probably get it canceled. I mean, I can hand someone some old Riffs books to color, since they're all in black and white. Now, Riffs was cool, at least. The art in that one looked really, really lazy and dumb. Only a badly colored character gets a penalty for diplomacy rolls. They're called pussies, Jack. Yeah, they are. They are, Kyler. You're not wrong. So, yeah, that's what's going on, guys. I wish I had better news, but people bitching about the wrong heraldry on Superman's big gay cape. I just don't know anymore. All my favorite hobbies have been taken over by lunatics, and it makes me sad. With the evangelical Harry Potter fanfic chick to make an RPG, I kind of do too. Harry Potter, the M1911. Grab my wizarding 50 caliber. Thank you, Tyrai. Thanks for the entertainment for my ride to work. Hey, no problem, man. Thanks for the donation. Appreciate it. And I hope work goes well. But that's all I had today, you guys. Thanks for listening to me complain. Thank you so much for coming out. Like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And remember, if you're listening to this in the future, the Streamlabs link should still work, so you can donate then. Also, I have a merchandise store and a Patreon, which should be listed in the description. And as always, you guys are awesome. I appreciate all the donations and you guys just showing up and listening to me complain. So you have a lovely evening, and hopefully we will see you on the next one.